guys, Eric here, this time with another review for Handheld Portable Month. And the game in today's review is a whole bunch of my favorite kind of things. It's a Japanese import, it's a Mario game, it's a Game Boy Advance game, it's a really cool complete in box game. The game we're looking at today is Super Mario Bros. 2, The Lost Levels for the Game Boy Advance, and this is actually a Japanese import. If you're not familiar with the whole backstory behind the difference between Super Mario Bros. 2 in the United States and Japan, the version they got in Japan was a version that looked a lot like Mario Bros. 1, but was much harder. The Japanese thought that was too hard for us stupid Americans, so we got a reskinned version of the game called Doki Doki Panic, which is also a really cool game, don't get me wrong. I like the United States version of Super Mario Bros. 2, but this is a really cool version of this game. It's, like I said, it's for the Game Boy Advance, and it's part of the Famicom miniseries. Let's take a closer look at it. Okay, so here is Super Mario Bros. 2, The Lost Levels, up close and personal. And you can see here it says Famicom Mini, and what that is that's the same thing as what the classic NES series of games that was released for the Game Boy Advance in the US here in 2004. And those look like this. And these are kind of cool. They're gray, so they're made to mimic the old NES cartridges. And basically this is Ice Climber for the NES, but converted over to the Game Boy Advance. And they did a whole line of these. So I've got Ice Climber, I've also got Bomberman, which is cool. And then I've, of course, got The Legend of Zelda, and also The Adventures of Link. And they did Super Mario Brothers, they did Metroid. I don't have those yet, but I'm going for a whole set, and they did a ton of these. But in Japan, they got a bunch more games that we didn't get, and they were called Famicom Mini over there instead of classic NES series. But they got, you know, on top of the games that we got, they also got this, of course, which makes sense because this was Japanese exclusive originally. But they also got Ghosts and Goblins, they got Mappy, they got Kid Icarus. We didn't get that over here. So once I complete the US set, I do want to go back and get the rest of the Japanese exclusives, and then I'll consider it having the complete set because some of those games are just really important. So let's take a look at Super Mario Bros. 2 a little closer. Again, it says Famicom Mini here, and it is in a really cool box. I love this packaging. It looks awesome on a shelf. It looks great on a shelf. And I love that it's made to look like a Famicom Disk System game in this case, because originally this came out on the Famicom Disk System. And I happen to have a Famicom Disk System game right here, so you can see kind of the similarity there. Actually, here we go. And there's the little Famicom Disk System mascot guy right there. And it's cool if you look, see, it's like a little box within a box. So let's open this like hard, clear plastic box up. And then we can pull this out. And then once again, we've got the little little box here, little tiny box. Just to kind of give you an idea of what the back looks like. Looks just like the Famicom Disk System game. That is just cool as hell, I think. Let's get the game out and take a look. And look at that, it's even got the little plastic bag that it originally came in. And the game cartridge is yellow, again, to mimic a Famicom Disk game. If you're not familiar with this, the Famicom Disk System was a add-on that went underneath the Famicom in Japan. And you could buy games that came on these proprietary Nintendo floppy disks. And these are really cool. And again, that's what Super Mario Bros. 2 was originally released on, so this is made to mimic that. You got the little Famicom Disk System mascot guy there again. And then if we open up this little box, we'll find the obligatory Club Nintendo card for Club Nintendo Japan. And the instruction pamphlet, which this thing is crazy. I mean, it doesn't look that big to begin with, but you can just open this up. It is the size of a road map. It is huge. Again, it's all in Japanese, so I don't know what any of this says, but I think this stuff is really cool to look at. We didn't get a lot of this cool stuff in our games here in the US, so it's definitely fun to look at. That Sinister Mushroom right there. Ugh. It's one of the new additions to Super Mario Bros. 2. We'll get into that in the gameplay. Freaking Poison Mushroom. Anyways, let's pop it in and take a look at some of the gameplay. So here it is, Super Mario Bros. 2 on the Game Boy Advance. And you can see here, instead of a player 1 and a player 2 option, there's a Mario game and Luigi game. And the difference being, in this game is only one player, and Mario and Luigi control slightly differently. Mario controls just like he did in the first game, but Luigi can jump a little bit further and higher, but in trade for that, he has a really hard time stopping. I'll show you what I mean. Playing with Luigi is like playing on an ice level constantly. It takes him forever to stop from a run. See? So I definitely don't like playing as Luigi. I'm not good enough yet to play as Luigi. So I stick with Mario. And here's the actual first mushroom in the game. And you can see the only way to get this is to kind of bounce it. There we go. Almost had it. There we go. Now, a lot of players would go for this mushroom, but that's a poison mushroom. If you get that when you're big, it turns you small, and if you get it when you're small, you die. So that's freaking sinister right at the beginning of the game to put that new mechanic in. Now, another cool thing about having these NES Classic Series or Famicom Mini Series games is that you can play these on your Game Boy player on your GameCube, and you then basically have these awesome NES games in a version that you can play on your TV or portably. So that's really cool. Let's take a look and see how this game looks on the Game Boy player on the GameCube.
So here it is on the Game Boy player on the GameCube, and it looks and sounds pretty good. Definitely gonna need as many extra guys as I can get. Definitely not speedrunning this game. Like I said, this game is difficult and I'm still learning it. I've known about it for a long time, but I've never actually really played through it, so I'm attempting to learn the game now. The first game, I can run through it pretty quickly. Not world record speedrunning times or anything like that, but I can run through it pretty quickly, but this game, not so much. And a nice big jump on the second level. I really want to get up there, and you're going to see why here in a minute. Because look at all the jumping I'm not doing. Look at all that platforming I'm skipping. Screw all that. I do like a lot of the new textures in this game too, like the ground textures and stuff that look different. Like the mushroom platforms there. And a blooper in the sky. You kids doing that in Mario Maker thought you were the first ones to do it? Nope, Nintendo did that a long time ago. We just didn't see it here in the US. Lots of hard jumps right at the beginning of the game already. I call these hard jumps. You should see some of the jumps later on in the game. Now the game does follow the same structure as the first game too, so 4 levels per world, with a Bowser fight at the end of the 4th one in a castle, the 4th level in each world. I think there is more worlds in this game though than there were in the original game, and there's like some even like super hard worlds that you can get to by doing a trick. I think you have to beat the game twice. I have to do some research on that because I would love to do that and try those levels. Now, the reason I paused it there for a minute is because I was going to start over again, because I had been trying to capture a run through the first 4 levels without dying, and I was like, you know what, screw it, I've come this far with a bunch of guys, let's just keep going. I don't feel like doing this again for the 15th time. Again, that just shows you how difficult this game is. I was having a hard time for some reason just getting through the first 4 levels. Having these Famicom Minis or NES Classic Series games though definitely are cool because, like I said, you can play them on a Game Boy Advance or you can play them on your TV, on your GameCube, which is cool. It's like having an NES collection that's more versatile. And here we are with this crap again with Toad instead of the princess. Same thing as the first one.
So would I recommend picking up Super Mario 2 The Lost Levels for the Game Boy Advance? I absolutely would. I have played through Super Mario Bros. 1 front to back. I know it front to back. So this for me is awesome to have new Super Mario Bros. Levels to play. Also, I'm a sucker for anything that looks good on a shelf. And the complete in box version of this game looks fantastic on a shelf. So if you can track down a copy of this locally or if you have to import it, it's definitely worth getting. I'm going to keep playing and trying to get good at this because I am still sucking at this game. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching. Go watch some of my other videos while I'm playing Super Mario Bros. 2 here, and take care.
Hey guys, thanks again so much for watching. If you got a few minutes, why don't you check out the first episode of the Game Shack up there, which is a new series I'm doing covering some of the really cool retro toys that Radio Shack made in the 80s and 90s. Or you can check out my latest video game review there, which is G-Lock for the Game Gear, and you can find out why that game's wearing a diaper. And I also got a cool video where I flipped through an old Nintendo Strategies guide. Also, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, that's really important, and I've got my links to social media crap down there. And as always, thanks again for watching.